you see our societies coping with this, and how do you see this developing? Any positive indications, or are we in it for the long haul?
I know that's pretty articulate question, and it's a long question. And let me think about it for a minute because I'm not sure. I can unpack it all quickly because I have Parkinson's.
Mm-hmm.
It affects me, my ability to deal with complex issues at all once. But if you bear with me for a second,
Sure.
I'm going to unpack it and say how shocked I am that we're having this discussion. Because it's really unfortunate. It's really tragic that we're having this discussion. I think going back to your piece, Eduardo, which I liked very much, you discuss the possibility of using immigration as a control mechanism to keep people out who are violent against women because they believe it's okay to be violent against women because of their religious beliefs. And I'm reminded of two things. I'm reminded of one thing, which is the woman who was complicit in the murder of her own child and her sister. I think she was a sister anyway, but the aunt of the woman, the child who was murdered in Kingston in the 1990s. We followed this on CBC News. And it was an awful case. I think your viewers, Canadian viewers, will remember it. They killed the two women and they put their bodies in the car and they dumped the car in the canal. So that was pretty awful. And there was a woman involved in that. She went to trial as well. And she was punished, I think, in jail term. But is that good? Is that a good punishment? Is that a suitable punishment? I don't know. I don't think it deters anybody who believes this. I think they're probably going to say, well, who ratted them out? And the second thing that I thought about when I read that piece is the little town in Quebec that tried to bring in a code for its residents, an anti-Islamic code. They called it, in the press, and it was really unfair because I think it made a lot of sense. They wanted to outlaw stoning as a punishment for adultery and so on like that. And genital circumcision as well was outlawed by this town. Not that they had any Muslims there or anybody who wanted to stone anybody or wanted to perform any kind of surgery like this, but it did make for an interesting couple of months of to and fro in the media. And in fact, it was released later. We learned later on that this was somebody's brilliant public relations scoop stunt, So, but that being the case, I mean, you do expose yourself to ridicule if you try to selectively choose who's going to be a member of your country and have the rights of voting and so on, based on their beliefs.
Mm.
How do you whittle this, weed them out?
Yeah, it's governments have. You're right. Sometimes governments are ridiculed for what they do. I know in Quebec the whole laïcité issue of banning headscarves and yarmulkes and Stars of David for public servants was a big issue for human rights people, and turbans for Sikhs and that. And in France, it's an issue. But Western governments have to do something to free women, especially women who are being attacked and who are being manipulated in this way violently because of religious beliefs. Governments have to find a way either to stop it or to evict the people who are advocating that and send them back to their home countries where they can practice all they want. Because until for example, Islam reforms itself and joins the 21st century, unless African countries who practice female genital mutilation, India that has a case system that also goes against women. We've seen the latest about the rape and murder of the Indian doctor in Bombay. These societies, they export their beliefs to our societies, and we have to wonder how long can we accept that before we become a war zone.
Well, I think that's a very good point. It's a very good point. But how do you stop it? How do you stop it from happening? And do you go into some of these beliefs on a test? In immigration as part of your immigration process, and are they going to? What's going to tell you that they're going to tell the truth? I mean, as it is, Canadian citizens have to learn a few things about the country, but it's pretty bloody easy to pass that test. I mean, everybody knows somebody who's passed that test, and so what kind of tests are you going to administer to these people?
Well, that's probably that's a fundamental issue, and people who advocate for human rights have to advocate for human rights for all, for victims and for people who are oppressing. And we have to have a balanced system where people are allowed to be themselves, but not inflict their beliefs on others, and especially not challenge the values of our society and try to bring values from the 7th century to the 21st century in our countries. And that's a fundamental problem we have. And also, I'm not being I'm not being anti-Islamic here, because I'm criticizing the Christian right at the same way, trying to impose male domination over women, over women's bodies, over control of their reproductive rights, over their education, over birth control. This whole macho concept in Latin America, where macho men can beat women, femicides that are taking place wholesale in countries like Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia
Colombia.
and Peru. These are not limited to one religious group. They're part and parcel, I think, of men everywhere. The desire to dominate women, and it's a fundamental weakness of many men who do not want to recognize the equality of women but feel threatened by it.
Right. I think you're right about that. Getting back to what do you do about it? I mean, I don't know where you go with that, because how do you ensure that somebody who's coming to Canada from Colombia or Mexico or Peru is not going to kill their wife in revenge, or for something that she did to them, like having an affair, and talking about equality of treatment of people. The laicity law in Quebec was even added because I can wear this Star of David because I'm Jewish and I want to make a show of it, right? I don't wear it outside the street because I'm afraid that somebody's going to steal from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did it show up here?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, so I wear that anyway. But I've worn it just recently because I also believe that you're what you are, what your beliefs are yours, and they're personal. They're not public. So you want to make them public, and also that this Star of David doesn't represent my religious beliefs, because I have no religious beliefs. I'm really agnostic or atheist, and but it reflects my belonging to a tribe that actually doesn't see. You talk about women being mistreated. I mean, Jews are just as likely to mistreat women as anybody else. In fact, there's the women who have escaped from what they call Bavarian,
Mm-hmm.
communities in Brooklyn, written about it, how repressive they are, how repressive they are against women, how they have to dress a certain way and so on, and they're not allowed to touch men or touch anything in the house when they're having their period. And in India, there's a tradition where women have to go into live in a shed in the back of the garden, when they're having their periods. So where does this take us? I don't know.
Well, it takes us that, machismo is something that exists in every society and every religion. And
That's right.
unfortunately, we have to be very conscious of what we teach our kids, the example we give our kids, and hopefully somehow find a way to moderate this machismo so that it doesn't translate into actual violence against women. And worse, it doesn't normalize violence against women as something that is sanctioned and something that's acceptable. David,
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for participating. And it's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite you that if you like these podcasts and you like these articles, please subscribe and have your friends subscribe. David, any last words?
Yeah, I wanted to say something about the Spanish Prime Minister who made a statement in the wake of the kiss that the football soccer guy, the FIFA guy, gave this champion on the lips. She said it was unwanted. She brought charges against him, and he said that we in Spain, our women have shown the way. We're not going to put up with it. You're not going to put up with it anymore. And this is really the important thing I think about your piece, Eduardo, is that women themselves are complicit in many cases, and they must put up resistance. They must resist and denounce their offenders, people who want to commit violence against them. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to participate in this program.
No, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time. Ciao for now. Thank you, David.
Take care.